Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic, and this is episode 18 already. It's the 14th of December, and I hope you're having a good start to your week. I'm having a bit of a different setup today due to acoustic and logistical reasons. I quite like the light here. It's like afternoon light, kind of light and dark on my face. I like that. Um, yeah, how are you guys doing? I hope you're doing well. Um, I guess I've been having a little bit of a difficult time today, just very emotional. And when you're feeling a bit raw or vulnerable and you start interpreting everything through a certain lens. We talked about perceiving reality, or how our perception, how our inner filter tints and colors our perception of reality. So you know what it's like when you're a bit down and then you interpret everything through this kind of gray filter. No, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. So that's a bit what's been happening to me over the past few days. Remember the encounter I told you about yesterday, with this person who had mirrored to me something I still had, somewhere I still had to, where I still needed to love myself more. So it's been kind of a succession of events that kind of mirrored back to me like, Melanie, hey, you need to, here's where more of your self love is required. But I guess, when you're in this moment of transformation or wanting to change your patterns, often you find yourself maybe on this kind of seesaw. I spoke to a friend, she called it like this emotional seesaw, where you're in the middle of this seesaw and your old wiring would tilt you this way. Sorry, this way. I'm going to the shadow way would tilt you this way. But you know that you can consciously tilt the seesaw towards the light, no? So, but it's this kind of middle limbo ground in the middle where you're like, I know I can go towards the light, but it's so much easier to fall back into the pattern and feel, let's say, sorry for myself, or you know let these negative thoughts catch you and spiral you downwards in the notion of, in the tone of, see, you can't do anything right, um, you should do better, blah blah blah. This kind of avalanche of this kind of door that can easily lead to an avalanche of negative thoughts. It's very tempting because we're so familiar with it. No, it's just kind of there waiting for us to fall into it. So this kind of limbo state I was in today, and I was like, I know the default wiring is going this way, but I know I can choose going to go towards the light and to love myself. But it's this kind of conflict. It's not without a struggle sometimes. So that's a bit how I found myself in. And I really tried to ask myself, what is it, deep down that's making you lash out or feel so vulnerable? And again, over and over again, when this kind of emotional hijacking happens, I know that somewhere deep down it's little Melanie who's not feeling well, or feeling under attack, or feeling abandoned, no? And I told you, or I think I told you, that my healing began once I started to look into my own so-called monster or darkness. I really went inside the pain and wanted to see what's in there, what is really in there. It was scary, but the irony was that once I faced that proverbial monster inside, it wasn't a monster, it was little Melanie, kind of screaming, you abandoned me, you hurt me, you betrayed me, and that had caused all this pain. So it really took some courage to go down there and face little Melanie, and it was painful to recognize, or to become really conscious how hurt this little version of me was, and how I had betrayed her. It was very painful. And yeah, what I did earlier this year on the 15th is I took a picture. I mean, I found a picture of myself when I was like little, which is literally, look at this one. That's mini me. I don't know, maybe 2 years old or something. And when I saw this picture, it really kind of dawned on me like, oh my God, all this pain was because I had way back in time abandoned her, and back then we didn't know better. We didn't know how to protect her, and we didn't, we were in survival mode. And all she actually wanted was to be seen, to be heard, to be cherished, with love. But as you may know, it's not the circumstances are sometimes such that the needs of ourselves when we're little cannot be fulfilled completely. So we start building up these defense mechanisms and walls that ultimately, maybe back in the day, try and protect us, the defense mechanisms. So we create them so we can survive in a way. But as we grow older, those defense mechanisms, they have served their purpose, but as adults, they don't serve that purpose anymore, and they often block us from being our authentic selves and from accessing the little version of ourselves, who actually just wants to be seen and wants to be cherished by us. It's this whole notion of reparenting ourselves. In any case, going back to the present moment, I had a talk with myself, little me. I said, "Hey, what's up?" And she felt hurt. She, these past days, felt a little bit like she was under attack, and she was scared to be abandoned, and that she wasn't enough, and that she couldn't be herself. And she's actually the one who makes the essence of Mel's magic. I'm here now, I guess, able to share myself more authentically because I have allowed little Melanie to be there right with me. Whereas in the past, maybe I had to suppress her, I had to deny her, I had to, yeah, I wasn't able to really allow her to be herself, And it sounds a bit, maybe you're like thinking, well, what is she talking about? We are not children anymore. But the reality is that, linear time is a human invention, let's put it that way. And just because we are at a certain age, let's say, this is adult Mel, it doesn't mean that the little version of me is not still there. That little creature is still inside, although the exterior is different biologically, the little version is still there. And the same goes for you, There's still little Fran, little Laura, little Tom, little Manuel, little Tomas, little Aude, all of the little version of you is still in you. And my guess is that, or in my experience, a lot of the pain and trauma comes from not being able to integrate the little versions of ourselves and to allow the little version of ourselves to still be there. As I said, it's her who is my access to joy, and she is the creative one. She is the one who knows how to have fun and and looks at the world with big, new, curious eyes. If I would deny this part of me, I would just be dull, So it's really essential to acknowledge that the essence of the little you is still alive within you, yeah, even though we've grown older. In any case, I pulled 2 cards on this note, and as you may remember from yesterday's episode 16, I pulled the 6 of Swords, and it had 6 swords. It was basically this card, but with 6 swords on the bottom and then the rainbow, remember? If not, please check out episode 16. And it's interesting because today I asked my angels, my guides, ancestors for some guidance, and I pulled this card from the Wild Unknown Animal deck, and it's beautiful. This little reindeer under, she's called Daughter of Pentacles, under this rainbow. And I looked at the creature, and it really reminded me of, for some reason, of little me. And you remember how yesterday we talked about the rainbow comes after the obstacles, which were the Six of Swords, after the pain, after the struggle. And very in a similar vein, the treasure, the rainbow, is found when we go into the darkness and our own pain, and probably will find a little innocent creature, the little version of you, an innocent, docile creature who just wants your love, who just wants to be seen and acknowledged and cherished. So I thought it was very synchronicitous, a good synchronicity that I pulled this card today. Look at her, so cute. And I don't know, I kind of saw myself in this card today, and I tried to then treat myself as I would treat a maybe a baby reindeer, with kindness and gentleness. And the card I pulled from the other deck, the second card I pulled was this one. Isn't it crazy? Self-love. And we spoke about how the child version of us, see, it's like a little child silhouette in here, is still alive in the adult version of us. It's real, And it's the little version of you who really holds the key to your joy, to aliveness, to creativity, to the colorful and wacky side of you. And she or he still needs your love and needs to be seen by you. So this is what I needed to give myself today, self-love. And not just today, but I guess every day. But especially, I realized, especially when we're struggling, it's in those moments that we're really being tested to be there for ourselves and not fall, as in my case, into this hardwired default mode of being hard on myself. And imagine like this little creature is crying or feels scared, and there goes big me, like being angry, like you shouldn't feel like this, you should be different, you should be this, and the little creature is like even more scared, So I told myself, well, what does little Melanie need? What does she need? And she said, well, I don't want to be told off. I want to be, respected. I want to be held, and I want to be validated, but not by anyone out there, by you, by me. No? That's why it's so important to integrate all of ourselves, our past selves, the younger version of ourselves. If we don't, it leads to fragmentation. Most of these mental health issues are a version of inner fragmentation, psychic fragmentation. And the only thing that can bind those dispersed, fragmented parts back together and heal them is love, self-love. So yeah, that's my story today. And I hope, my wish for you today is, if you're struggling, and even if you're not, but especially if you're struggling, on those days when you struggle, to ask yourself maybe, what does the little version of you need? What do I need? How would you treat that 3-year-old, 4-year-old version of yourself? Would you be hard and criticize her and beat her? No. Let's try and remember to be gentle and be there for ourselves first, be the parent to ourselves, maybe the parent that wasn't able to be there for us in the way that we needed them to be when we were little. It's not too late to be that parent to ourselves. Yeah? Okay. And with this, I wish you beautiful Tuesday, einen schönen Dienstag. Y nos vemos mañana, ¿vale? I quite like this lighting here, so maybe I should I'll record a few versions on here. Okay, lots of love and thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing with friends and thank you for subscribing to my channel. I'll see you for next episode. Besos. Ciao.